I am Mark Stewart. I am doing this from Manchester, New Hampshire, which may be the cauldron of democracy, at least for the next 5 weeks. More presidential candidates will come here than any other city. And that's because of the New Hampshire primary 5 weeks hence. So I am one of those candidates. I'm not heralded, but I want to give here a talk that I just gave to a bunch of students who are in attendance for the New England College's College Convention. Good event. There's still another day to attend, so consider coming on out. I wanted to, in fact, I started by asking who in the audience actually voted, or would have if they were old enough, voted for Trump, voted for Hillary, voted for a third party. And there were a decent number of people who voted third party. I was impressed. And that's the message that I want to deliver, that a third-party vote in the primary is not a wasted vote. A third-party vote is expressing yourself. How precious is that? A third-party vote may be able to propel a candidate, or even better than a candidate, an issue or two. I have several, and they're more important than elevating me, Mark Stewart, but putting certain issues in front of people like term limits, like the deficit that neither Republicans nor Democrats in Congress seem to address. And young people are the ones hurt the most by it. Climate change procedures, that could be among the things that I am heralded by. By the way, I am not the fan of radically changing what we do. If anything, I believe that capitalism, raging unbridled, is what will get us to better climate, because it's the poorer countries that are devastating rainforests. They're the ones who can't farm as effectively, but they need to just plain survive. Wealth and the capitalism that brings wealth is what leads to a better environment. We are the cleanest country right now. We're also the wealthiest, and it's not a coincidence. The ones who would like to become wealthy and don't have the capital or as much good technology, they resort to lesser developed methods which are polluting the environment. So a lot of young people respond to that. Whatever you respond to, it's worthy to respond without necessarily being on a bandwagon, because the bandwagon of the leading Democrat is going to be a compromised one, okay? Joe Biden can't embrace every one of your issues. Bernie Sanders a little closer, because maybe your issue is socialism. I'll have another video about that. Bernie, Joe, maybe Preet's going to rise again. The bandwagon vote doesn't let anyone know who or why, not who, but why did you vote? Let's go back to the Hillary Clinton vote from 2016. Somebody who votes for Hillary, was it because she's a woman? Was it because she's smarter than her opponent? Was it because she promised certain policies that were especially appealing to you? Was it because I'm a Democrat and she's a Democrat? Was it because you just saw a 30-second campaign ad like a day before and finally were convinced? You don't have the sort of precision that a third-party candidate's vote carries. Your vote actually means more. And let me give an example. Me. Without a lot of media attention from people like the Globe, and I'm not expecting it, maybe it'll happen, I'm destined to be a 1% at best. Let's say there's 3% out there of people who actually could vote their conscience for a Mark Stewart. Okay? That 3% is monumental. When you take an unknown candidate from 0 point something to 3 point something, you are making such a difference in democracy. Okay? It's not a big difference if that 3% adds on to Joe Biden's total. All right? So maybe he gets 31% instead of 28%. Not a big deal. It equals one more delegate at the Democrat Party's convention. That's not a big deal, even if it's the difference between coming in first or second. Literally, winning New Hampshire, coming in second New Hampshire. The difference is 1, 2, at most 3 delegates. Ask Bernie. Okay, last time round he won New Hampshire and got fewer delegates because of the darn super delegates that went for Hillary. Now the super delegates are out of the picture in the first round of voting for the Democrats. But still, it is largely based on the popularity state by state by state. So this is not the only state. But because even in one state, maybe it's Vermont where I will be on the ballot, maybe the 4% coming from there could inspire a legion of people to say, this is our issue. And here's a candidate who's going to propel that issue all the way till November. Won't get elected in November, but still will talk to people in November about your issues. I have a party. It's called EPIC. The EPIC Party stands for Every Politically Independent Citizen. It will be on ballots in a few states. Maybe many. That's up to you. I can only get us on the ballot in so many places because I'm out there petitioning. And I have another video about how petitioning can work, how you could join on if you want. But even if it's just a few states that could be in contention in November, what a big force that is. Let's say there's that 4% that starts to expand to maybe 8%. Okay, so we still lose. For the next 2 years in the legislature, maybe 4 years in Congress, the losing group with 8% is a faction. And it's a faction that deserves to be adhered to. Because legislation in a closely divided between Republicans and Democrat legislature, the legislation then hangs in the balance of you or the few representatives that may be listening to you. How do you, the EPIC group, feel about this pact that's about to get thumbs up or thumbs down? I can't think of a better way to empower young people. And let me close with young. Young doesn't vote enough. I got a question in that forum. How can you change that? I don't need to do anything because right now only 22% of people under 25 are going to exercise their right to vote. That's ridiculous. So, I leave with the hopeful message that more young people do get out and vote, but not necessarily on a bandwagon of somebody who is politically popular, but doesn't give the issues that you are most interested in. Look at StewartForLiberty.com. If there's even a few of them, you have an unheralded candidate that by getting behind and hopefully in front of, blog, tell people about the exploits that one little candidate can do in a big system that I think is malleable. All right, thank you for your time. I will see some of you in New Hampshire and many more of you in Vermont.